For this group project, we decided to partner with the High Desert Humane Society, located here in Silver City, New Mexico. We brainstormed several different ideas, ranging from doing a food drive to gathering unused books and spreading those throughout the community, but we eventually decided to go with helping animals that were in need. The High Desert Humane Society's mission is to provide humane care to animals through faculty care, adoption, community education, and programs which address pet overpopulation. And unfortunately, the work they do at the Humane Society is only possible due to volunteers and the support of the community here in Silver City. So we decided to help them out with their endeavor. The event we decided to organize was a community-oriented gathering that allowed the animals to interact and play with people who decided to come. We emphasized the exercise and interaction of these animals since shelter environments can often be extremely stressful and isolating to the animals. Our goal by creating this event was to incorporate the teachings we learned from public speaking into making a community-driven gathering that promoted the well-being and adoption of shelter animals here in Grant County.
Despite the best efforts of these shelters and organizations, not always do they have the appropriate funding, workers, materials, or room available to accommodate for all the needs of the dogs in these shelters. And these can not only affect them in a physical way with their health and their exercise, but also in a mental way. One of the most common factors being due to stress from being cooped up in a room. Not only can this induce many effects of fear, anxiety, confusion in the dogs, but it can also affect them in the way they can socially interact with other dogs and other people. With the reduced room for them to walk around in, they can start to get anxious. According to Free Happy Homes, some of the signs that you can see in how a dog is doing mentally can be from their behavior. Some signs of them being in a relatively healthy state mentally can be normal dog behavior, being able to eat well, being able to interact well with others, normal grooming habits, normal eating habits, normal sleeping patterns. All of these are signs that the dog is relatively at ease and relatively relaxed with not much or little stress or anxiety being shown.
Some animal shelters and holding facilities still provide inefficient or no exercise for incarcerated dogs. Veterinary and clinical researchers have recently documented the benefits of dogs living a sedentary life and suffering from chronic diarrhea off putting them on an exercise regime. What should be the standard for exercising the dogs? Stated here, it should be at least 15 to 20 minutes twice a day in order for them to get their ideal exercise. Dogs that don't get exercise on a regular basis are at risk from physical and mental health problems, such as weak muscles and joints, behavioral problems, such as barking more often, tearing up items that shouldn't be torn, aggressive behavior towards people and other animals. Having the dog being able to run around for those 15 to 20 minutes a day, they are able to enter a feel-good state for anti-inflammatory neurochemicals that go on inside their system. In the U.S. Federal Animal Welfare Act, Exercise for Dogs, Section 3.8, it is clearly stated that dogs must be provided the opportunity to engage in regular exercise.
Some things that the shelters try to do to keep these dogs with their relatively low stress is to notice the routine that they have and try to stick to that daily routine as much as possible, being able to give them the food they need, giving the healthy, normal interactions with other dogs and other people, and normal sleeping patterns. Some signs that you can pick up on when a dog has an increase of stress can be less likely to be open to interactions, not necessarily getting away from other dogs or from other people, but just not being that open to them. Another would be hiding from other dogs and other people as well as loss of appetite, eating less and less and less, along with being more stationary, not walking around that much. Or it can be the opposite of where there's a pickup in activity, not in a healthy way, but in a more reactive and an aggressive way, being more prone to jumping around and barking and tearing other stuff and materials around them. When stress levels reach an all-time high is when a dog can either go one of two ways. One is the extremely reactive way, where they can either be very against interacting with other animals and other people, along with being very aggressive, either to materials or others, as well as a very, very low appetite, barely even eating or barely even moving around. And if not, they can be very jumpy, very, very pacey, walking around the room a lot due to out of boredom, out of lack of sufficient activity for them to get their mind off of stuff, along with being very, very isolated, very more prone to sleeping or just pretending to be asleep and not moving a lot in general. These are all indicators of a very high emotional turmoil that the dogs can be going through. And despite the efforts of the shelters or these nonprofit organizations, they might not have the materials to accommodate for them. And as time goes on, even healthy dogs might start to get induced into stress and anxiety and just in general not well mental health due to the environment they are in. And the unfortunate reality is that if this keeps up, not only will they have a deterioration in mental health and physical health, but also it could reduce the chances of them being adopted due to either being very aggressive or being very distant, isolated, or just not being in the best health possible for a potential new owner, which is the reason events like this are very important, very helpful, not only to the organizations, but to the dogs and the community, giving not only the dogs a chance to get out, walk around, get a fresh of breath air, but also to potentially find a new lifelong companion that can give them all the things that they need or they might lack in a shelter or a home.
Interacting with dogs raises our happiness by increasing oxytocin, which is a hormone associated with bonding and relaxation. The act of owning a dog also helps to lower cortisol, the stress hormone, which contributes to a better well-being for humans and society. In some cases, this can even increase life expectancy for people. The peer-reviewed journal article from the National Institutes of Health states that petting a dog just for a few minutes a day can help to decrease our stress and increase our happiness. This overall interaction with the dogs promotes a sense of well-being and reduces anxiety in many humans, as a study has shown. Moreover, the companionship and emotional support that dogs can provide humans truly revolutionizes people's experiences and can help increase their life expectancy. Additionally, the responsibility of nurturing dogs and bringing them up, such as children, can help parents and those who do not have children to improve their well-being and make it seem as though they do not have to suffer in life where they can't have children. Dogs can be that replacement. Physical activity is another key factor in reducing stress for humans, as it allows people to walk their dogs, be active, go outside, and help improve their overall happiness. This can also help people who are in a strut and help develop their routines better so that they have a sense of purpose and that every moment that they live with the dogs can bring them joy.
In our eyes, this event was a resounding success. Not only did we nearly get 24 people to show up to the event, but we also walked every single dog in the whole facility, with some dogs even being walked multiple times. Our event was scheduled from 12 to 2, and within that time, I think we made a real difference, to be honest. However, the biggest success from the whole event was actually managing to get 2 of the dogs we walked adopted. 2 of the people who came to the event ended up going home with the dogs they walked. Both of these dogs here were taken home that day.
One of the main parts of this project was informing and convincing people to join our dog walking event. This allowed us not only to perform a good public service act, but also incorporate the skills of rhetoric that we have learned in this class into this project. Individually, we all contributed by persuading our friends and family to come and join our dog walking event by informing them of the happiness that they would receive by doing this and the well-being and the wellness that it would do in the community. We also went around in our group with our flyer that we created and went around advertising our event to make sure as many people as possible were informed about this and could make the best possible decision about helping the community in this way. Further, we made sure to advertise this event and our flyer on social media platforms such as the Student Government Instagram page for this university, which definitely helped to increase the number of people that we had at our event and make sure that more people could help the High Desert Humane Society improve their dog walking.
And to incorporate some things we learned in class in this project, we used a lot of pathos, and this whole project kind of encapped goodwill and virtue. And the biggest influence we did from class to this project is digital influencing, including this video you're seeing right now and the flyer. Our main source of communication to others and getting the word out was through making a digital flyer. There was more that went into the flyer than you might think, to try to persuade people to help this cause. Hopefully by now we've shown you the flyer and you've seen it, and one big thing that you notice is a dog's face, giving you what everyone kind of knows is the puppy dog eyes. Now that was definitely intentional, and that was to pull some heartstrings and help the audience and help the people we're trying to reach to visualize actually interacting and working with these dogs. In the flyer, the main color used is blue, and that normally represents tranquility, compassion, sympathy towards others, empathy towards others, and even enthusiasm and imagination. And another way to look at this is like when people think of the color red and they think of like love and stuff like that. One other part of using the color blue in this flyer also went to the other side of like sadness and kind of depression. And when we think of dogs in shelters, we think of that sad little dog shaking in its cage, looking at you, malnourished and and sad. So like the flyer is very, that's the goal I'm trying to convey to people. And I like to end with the little phrase, short and simple: join the wolf pack. Because in the end of our message, we like to really end with going back to the main point of community between each other. And joining the wolf pack really shows that. Really gets that back to community, not only interacting with animals, which we all hopefully love and enjoy, just like I do and my fellow colleagues, but with other people.